northern Manatee County. More rain lined up through all of Pinellas County, most of Hillsborough County, southern Pinellas County. You watch, you've got some really strong storms heading in your direction just now, working their way over the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. That's why they've closed the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. The strong winds and those heavy rain bands that come through there, which basically just completely take all the visibility and just blind any attempt to cross over that bridge. Now, to our north, lighter amounts of rain from Inverness to Brooksville down towards Newport Richey. You're seeing some moderate rain, and there's more of it lined up into the Gulf of Mexico and down to our south as the center of this continues, at this point almost paralleling the coastline. So right now, Hurricane Eta, it is now a hurricane, winds of 75 miles an hour. It's moving to the north-northeast at 10 miles an hour. And you see the pressure holding at 983 millibars. Now, yesterday, you may have noticed that we had that big flare-up of convection near the center. We saw that through the late night hours. But through this morning, we've really seen it not looking quite as impressive on satellite imagery. And that's because the wind shear is starting to pick up, and it's starting to move over some cooler water. So at this point, it does look like it is probably leveled off in intensity and may start to weaken a little bit as we go towards tonight. But still, doesn't matter if this is a strong tropical storm or a minimal hurricane. The effects on us are pretty much the same. We are going to see, as we go through tonight, the winds picking up, those rain bands, that storm surge, and then it looks like it makes landfall by early tomorrow morning just to our north, and then it will quickly work its way onto the north and the east. So we do have some watches and warnings out. We have a tropical storm warning. That goes from the Swanee River all the way down the coastline. So basically all of our coastal areas through our viewing area is under a tropical storm warning. We also have a hurricane watch that goes from Anna Maria and to the north up to Yankeetown. Rainfall amounts 2 to 4 inches of rain is what most areas can expect, but we could see some isolated pockets of 6 to 6+ inches of rain as some of these rain bands work their way over the same area. Storm surge is also going to be another issue along the coastline, 3 to 5 feet of storm surge. So if you're one of these places that tends to flood pretty easily, you're going to be one of these areas that will likely see some flooding. On top of all the rain, it doesn't allow the rainfall to drain off. So you get those flooding issues just because the drainage doesn't work as well. So we'll look at these current wind gusts. You're seeing down towards Venice, down towards Sarasota. You're seeing these winds gusting right now into the tropical storm force range. They've seen that throughout the morning hours. And as we go through tonight into tomorrow, these are forecasted wind gusts where we're going to see some of these winds gusting well into tropical storm force, and in some cases could approach hurricane force with those wind gusts as we head through tonight and into tomorrow. So Futurecast showing the storm working its way basically right near the coastline by, I think, say 7, 8, 9 o'clock tonight. That will probably tend to be some of the worst as some of the strongest.
You can see the flashing lights of one, probably a highway patrol officer, driving up over the bridge right now. High winds force the highway patrol to shut down the bridge. It will probably be a while before it opens back up. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Paul Dellegatto for the very latest on the track.
Good afternoon, folks. I want to see a couple of quick camera views because it's pretty impressive right now on the Bradenton Beach cam. Look at the water, how far it is coming up the beach. The high tide here at Bradenton Beach is about 8:50 tonight, and they'll have more high water as they approach that high. Wave action now on Clearwater Beach. Southeast winds at 21. That's a lot of wave action, kind of pounding the Pier 60 right here. So let's get right to Sky Tower, and we've had multiple tornado warnings up today in some of the outer bands with Eta. I think the biggest surprise today has been how fast this storm has approached from the southwest. We were waiting for Eta to get picked it up, and really has accelerated it northeast. So the whole timing of this has changed dramatically. The worst weather in many spots is happening right now along the coast from coastal Manatee and Sarasota. The center is here. It's moving north about 12, 13 miles an hour. So by midnight tonight, it's going to be way up in our northern counties. And by daybreak, the weather should be improving in most areas. These are the bands that are now containing tropical storm force winds. I've seen confirmed wind gust 50 to 55 in these bands. And that's the worst weather. This is not a good idea to be driving around in this kind of rain and wind at all. And this is all going to kind of pivot up through Tampa Bay and eventually get into Pasco County and get lighter rain to the east. This is going to be mainly a coastal event, and we talked about that last night. Much worse weather near the coast than inland. Yeah, it'll be breezy inland, but if you're watching me inland, I think all in all things considered, not that bad at all. Because look at the wind speeds. Yeah, the gusty 30, 26, 23, no picnic, but the real strong stuff is along the coast. Gust 44 in St. Pete, same in Clearwater. I saw 52 earlier in Venice, now 40, 45. There's the center. On the enhanced satellite view, dry air is coming in from the southwest as expected, shear impacting it as expected, cool shelf waters as expected. So the storm is at peak intensity. In fact, that happened earlier today. It is weakening, but it's just kind of in the wrong spot because we're on the east side. And as we talked about last night, the day before, the east side is not great. And we'll have that rough weather next several hours moving up the coast. By 1 a.m., it's up by Levy County, and then by 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon is near Jacksonville, and finally we'll say see you later, get out of here. So we'll have a lot more coming up, more critical radar views. We'll talk about high tides and storm surge flooding at 4:20. I'll see you then.
All right, Paul, thank you. We have crews spread out all over Tampa Bay covering the latest on the damage caused by Eta. Let's start in Pinellas County. Fox 13's Dan Matics is live on St. Pete Beach. What's it like there, Dan?
Linda, we're set up at a hotel here on St. Pete Beach. You can see winds have picked up really significantly. I would say I've been here for about 2 hours at this specific location. Winds have really picked up. You can see the waves crashing and the winds blowing the palm trees here. But I want to talk about what we just saw. We just saw about 5 units, fire rescue and ambulances, head up Gulf Boulevard here towards Pass-a-Grille Beach, where we are learning of a water rescue that is underway. And that is why I want to show you this video. This is where we were earlier this afternoon. This was Pass-a-Grille Beach around, I would say, 12:30, 1 o'clock. And you can see you had a lot of surfers out there. And, of course, hearing that there's a water rescue happening right now, that is very concerning. We don't have confirmation that is exactly what's going on, but you can kind of put 2 and 2 together. And that's, of course, something that we're going to be checking into. Also important to mention, we're talking about first responders as the winds pick up. Right now is really the time you want to be hunkering down because when wind speeds hit 40 miles per hour, first responders are not going to be responding to calls because it's just too dangerous. Important to mention that the barrier islands are not being shut down and there are no mandatory evacuations. But really for a lot of guests, a lot of tourists, and just people that live in this area, watching the waves and the water this afternoon from a safe distance, of course, if you're not in the water, and like some people, really a sight to see for a lot of people. Take a listen.
Oh, the energy is fantastic. You don't see waves like this on the Gulf of Mexico very often, so it's really amazing. I am in high ground. I'm in the Tyrone area. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be dangerous to be down here about 7, 8 o'clock tonight.
And take a close look at the screen here. Pinellas County, they have taken 2 community centers and they've turned them into shelters. They're going to be offering rapid COVID tests for people that are concerned. You're asked to bring any PPE that you may own with you, of course, and they're going to be enforcing social distancing. And they've got it set up so people will be spaced apart, I'm told, at those 2 shelters. Also, they've got the county emergency information number on the screen right there. If you have any questions, you can give them a call. But once again, back out here live, we're on St. Pete Beach. We just saw, again, quite a few emergency vehicles head up that way to Pass-a-Grille, where we've learned that there's a medical water rescue happening right now. Going to be checking on that, and, of course, we'll keep you updated from the beach, from the coast here in Pinellas County. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, surfing sounds like a good idea, Dan, but those waves are really dangerous. All right, I know you'll keep us updated. Thank you.
Yeah, and speaking of which, this is what we saw in Manatee County, where the rain has continued all day. And as you see there, surfers enjoying some rare Gulf waves, some surfable waves there on the Gulf ahead of Tropical Storm Eta. Of course, they often get out there anytime we have a storm churning up the Gulf, but they do advise everyone to stay safe on the coast there. Fox 13's Kimberly Kuizon joining us live now from the Bradenton Riverwalk. So, Kim, what's it like there where you are?
Well, Chris, the rain has been steady on and off all day long, but it's the first time that we're really starting to see those winds pick up, especially right here in Manatee County. But the public safety director for Manatee County says residents along the coast especially should be prepared for a rough night tonight. And Manatee County says low-lying areas and the barrier islands, meaning Anna Maria Island, could see the worst of the storm, much like Paul has said, with up to 4 to 6 inches of rain expected, along with 2 to 5 feet of storm surge. And to prepare, the county has opened 2 schools as a refuge of last resort. That's at Manatee High School and Mills Elementary School. They have a strong-sounding name because that's what officials want them to be used as. With COVID-19 concerns and cases increasing, they really want people to only use them if no other options exist. And like you saw there, just before lunchtime, residents were venturing out to get a look at surfers and the waves along Anna Maria Island.
You know, before big storms, we always come out before we think that we may be spending a few hours at home, maybe with or without power. So we just come enjoy the nature and see how it looks and learn to appreciate it more.
Yeah, and Ann there told me she was going to be heading back home soon to shelter in place, and that's where residents should be right now, and this is a good reason why. What you're taking a look at is video that a Sarasota police officer took. It shows flooding already happening on Lido Key, and this is another shot. This is in Sarasota County. The lifeguard stands had to be moved to the incoming waves, and schools in Sarasota County let out earlier today, and in Manatee County, school buildings will be closed tomorrow and Friday, but classes will continue on e-learning. And again, county officials say at this point in time, you should be home. You should not be out driving on the roads. And especially if you live in those coastal areas or any places near the water, be prepared for whatever tonight will bring. Chris, back to you. Good advice. As the woman you interviewed there said, it's important to appreciate nature, but also to respect its power. So we hope everyone there is staying safe in Manatee County. Thank you, Kim.
Hillsborough County also feeling the effects of Eta. Fox 13's Lloyd Sowers joins us live from Tampa. And Lloyd, several shelters are open now.
Yeah, Linda, they've opened 5 shelters in Hillsborough County, and these are specifically for people who depend on electricity for home medical needs, or if you live in a mobile home. I'll tell you more about that in just a second. Show you some video here from Hillsborough County. We had intermittent squalls all day long in Tampa. Nothing very severe, but we did have a couple of tornado warnings, no touchdowns, no damage in Hillsborough County. There were no mandatory evacuation orders, but they did open shelters in 5 different schools.
It'll be Steinbrenner High School, which will be pet friendly. We have Burnett Middle School, which will be pet friendly, Middleton High School, as well as Reddick Elementary School and Sickles High School as well.
Whenever possible, residents should consider other alternatives to public shelters, such as staying with friends, family, or hotel.
Yeah, shelters only as a last resort. If you have family or friends, you need to get out of your mobile home, or if you have home medical needs, that's a much better alternative. Public works crews have been out all day long pumping, lowering retention areas to try to reduce street flooding. Be careful if you go out. Some streets are flooded. If you don't have to go out, it is a good afternoon to stay inside. That's the story from Hillsborough County. Now back to you.
All right, Lloyd, thank you. So here is a full list of school closures for the Bay Area. In Hillsborough and Manatee counties, the actual school buildings will be closed tomorrow and Friday, but classes will be held virtually. The districts are asking students to revert back to the e-learning plan they used in August. In Citrus County, school buildings will be closed tomorrow, but students will have virtual classes. In Pinellas, Pasco, Polk, and Hernando counties, school is closed tomorrow and will resume Friday for now. Sarasota and Hardee counties say they will make a decision about classes tomorrow later this evening. We are continuing to track Tropical Storm Eta. Coming up, a look at the impact the storm is already having in Hernando County.
You're watching the Fox 13 4 o'clock news.
And as we continue to track Tropical Storm Eta, the Nature Coast is squarely in the bullseye of the storm and is starting to feel the effects now. Let's go up there live to Fox 13's Josh Cascio in Hernando County. Josh, what's it like there where you are?
Yeah, Chris, we are live in Hernando Beach. As you can see right now, it's actually not too bad. In the last 30 seconds or so, we've had some wind pick up, but overall, if you look out there, not terrible right now, although we know there's more wind and rain on the way. This is what's considered now Zone A, and officials here in Hernando County have ordered a voluntary evacuation for Zone A and those low-lying flood-prone areas, as well as folks living in RVs and mobile homes across Hernando County. Again, that is a voluntary evacuation. Basically, the message is if you're not somewhere that's safe, they want you to be somewhere safe. They're expecting storm surge anywhere from 2 to 4 feet, which could lead to some street flooding. There's also some concerns about flash flooding as well, so keep that in mind. The county has at least one shelter open for people who need that tonight. That's at the Hernando Mining Association in Richmond Center. That is in Brooksville. Here in Hernando County, a state of emergency has been declared. School canceled for tomorrow. The bottom line here tonight, they want everyone to be smart and be safe.
Really want to take this opportunity to remind our residents how important it is to stay safe, especially keeping in mind that impacts are likely to start occurring soon and moving into the overnight hours. It's not safe to be out moving around in the dark. So if you need to, if you need to take action to seek higher ground and find a safe place to stay, please do that as soon as possible before it gets dark.
Good advice there. All right, let's talk about Citrus County to our north. They're also preparing for impacts from this tropical storm. We saw folks getting sandbags this morning. The good news is officials are not expecting floodwater to wash over US 19. That's always a pretty good gauge as to how bad it's going to be. But they do say the usual spots like Ford Island Trail, the Ozello areas, they could see some flooding. Of course, folks who live up there know just how bad it can get. They know which areas flood the most, and so they're going to be ready for it as well. But keep that in mind. If you live in Ford Island Trail, or Ozello, you could have some floodwaters coming your way. Citrus County also has a state of emergency in effect. Schools also closed in Citrus tomorrow. No evacuation orders in effect. Government services still will be running. The big message in Citrus for folks, they want everyone up there to really make sure any debris in your yard, around your house, is either brought in or secured. They have a huge concern about wind gusts. They don't want flying debris flying around everywhere. They're also concerned about flooding as well, but they're really focused on those high wind gusts. One final note, especially here in our northern counties, Hernando, Citrus County, up to Lecanto as well, they really want folks to keep in mind that it's going to be picking up over the next several hours, and the worst of it could be in the later hours tonight. Chris, again, here in Hernando Beach, right now, not too bad. We have had some wind and rain. We expect more to pick up soon, but at least at the moment, not terrible. But like I said, that'll change very soon. Back to you.
All right, Josh Cascio live for us on Hernando Beach. Thank you for your report, and stay safe, of course, always.
That just shows you how calm one place can be, though, and then you've got a water rescue going on down in Paso Grill, so different scenarios.
Big swath of winds, 50 to 60 miles an hour right now occurring in coastal Manatee, Sarasota, soon to move into Tampa Bay. I wouldn't be driving around right now, so not at all around Tampa Bay. The biggest concern, if you're in your home and you get a tropical storm outside, you're going to be okay. I think the biggest concern this evening, potential of losing power, and you can lose power with a 45-mile-an-hour thunderstorm that knocks a tree branch down. So there's going to be some sporadic power outages tonight. As far as storm surge flooding goes, a couple of feet are likely at the time of high tide around midnight tonight. We'll talk about that throughout the evening. Let's take a look. Some of these camera views really do a nice job of telling the story. This is the view in the Brookdale Bayshore cam. I was looking at the Bayshore, and it looks like, it's tough to tell. It looks like it's still open, but I don't think it'll be open much longer because this is a setup now with winds coming up soon from the south, 40, 50 miles an hour. It's got to flood the Bayshore soon, so that'll be closed soon. This is a look on our downtown Tampa cam, and if you look at Bayshore, you can see the traffic is still moving. but water levels are going to really start coming up. 78 degrees, east-southeast winds at 20. And then another look at Bradenton Beach, where the water levels continue to rise. High tide is about 8:50. At Bradenton Beach. So we'll continue to watch this as long as we have daylight. And, we're talking about a hurricane and get the time change. You get sunset now, it's like 5:40. And you think hurricanes, a lot of sun in the afternoon, not this time. Clearwater Beach, 73. And look at that wave action, about as big as waves you'll see on our west coast. The satellite view is pretty impressive. The big thing today, and you can see the center is back here, is not really that the track shifted east. That was not a huge surprise. What really has caught our attention, we saw this coming really last night and today, is how fast this has been moving northeast. And the timetable now of the worst weather is really now maybe ending most areas by midnight to 1 a.m. And then tomorrow is an improving day. This is the worst the weather's going to be along the coast. This is kind of like on the northeast side. It's tough to call it an eye because it's been open to the west. That's some of the dry air which has been eroding the storm. So the forecast of it perhaps reaching hurricane intensity, it did that, and then we talked about it weakening as it moved our way. It's doing that right now. It's still a 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm. So wind gusts along our coast, 50, 60, and maybe as high as 70. These rain bands are tough. I mean, it is tough drive along the interstates and up 19 in Pinellas right now. Blinding rain, strong winds, not a treat to be on the roads at all, and that continues down 75. 41 to Bradenton and Sarasota. Inland, I mean, it's windy and there's some fast-moving showers, but as expected, this is mostly a coastal event, and the rain goes all the way down to Punta Gorda, and then that's really about it. Tornado watch remains in effect, though I think we may have had the highest risk of tornadoes earlier today. Wind gust, let's take a look, 45 or so. We've had wind gusts 30, 40, 45 around Tampa Bay. Lesser wind speeds as you move inland. The 4 o'clock advisory, top winds 70, moving northeast at 12. This storm is not going to dilly-dally. It is going to move right along. It'll be up by Levy County at 1 a.m., and then the winds will be coming in from the west and southwest, still some high water. And then by tomorrow afternoon, it's Jacksonville, and then after that's gone. And we'll say goodbye to Eta at that point. It will not intensify. It has already reached peak intensity, so the storms will continue to weaken. Storm surge in Tampa Bay as high as 3 to 5 feet. Here are some key high tide times. Ballast Point, running just before midnight. St. Pete, 11:16. Between 10 p.m. tonight up in Bayport, 1:40ish in the morning, Crystal River. So that high tide just before midnight is the one and only one where there's the risk of that 3 to 5 foot of storm surge. So tonight, tropical storm conditions for a time, but I think improving later tonight and 77. Tomorrow, kind of a variably cloudy, windy, breezy day. Some showers will be in the mid-80s, probably some sunshine too. And then partly cloudy on Friday. It'll turn a little bit less humid with temperatures in the mid-80s. Check out the marine forecast. Southeast becoming southwest, I should say, 20, 30 knots, seas 9 to 11 feet. Next tide is a high tide. That's the one we're concerned about, 11:16 tonight. The 7-day forecast, we've got improvement. And then after that, how about a cold front for you next week with temperatures on Tuesday and Wednesday, maybe staying in the 70s. That would be really good. Back to you.
That sounds delightful. Thanks, Paul. Coming up, we are heading to Pasco County now for a look at how people have been preparing for Eta there.
You're watching Fox 13, Tampa Bay's #1 news station.
Pasco County issued a local state of emergency, encouraging people to stay off the roads this afternoon if they don't need to be out and about. Fox 13's Jennifer Holton spent the day in Pasco County, and she joins us live from Newport Richey along the Gulf Coast with more. Hi, Jen. How's it looking there?
Hey, Linda, the winds have just picked up in the last couple of minutes, and the rain has been pretty steady throughout the day. But most people I talked to today said they've been through several hurricanes before. They are getting prepared and getting ready for tonight. Most of them have been through Hurricane Irma back in 2017. So when they hear Category 1, they say, yeah, we can handle that. We'll be ready. But the county's local state of emergency issue came down around noon today. The EOC Center is operating at a modified level 1 activation status. They're basically telling residents to be prepared for heavy rain, and if you can, stay off the roads. They've been asking people to do that since 3 p.m. I spoke with several residents, many who are in the level A red evacuation zones. They tell me they're most worried about flooding, including one man who moved to Florida 15 years ago from New Hampshire.
I've been here 15 years, and it always seems like you're looking over your shoulder for the next one. And it takes away the quality of life sometimes, and just wondering. Because in New England, you're not going to die if a blizzard happens. You just might lose power. But down here, it's a deadly thing.
Now, earlier today, Pasco County only had 4 sandbag sites, but you could see in this video here how crowded one of them was. They opened an additional 3 sites throughout the county. Now, there are 2 in Newport Richey, and the others are in Hudson, Wesley Chapel, San Antonio, Lando Lakes, and Dade City. These locations, they are open 24 hours, and they do get refills from trucks from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m., but you do need to bring your own shovel. You don't need to bring your own sandbags, though. Those are supplied there. So wind has definitely picked up, I would say, in the last 20 minutes, but the rain's been pretty steady throughout the whole day here in Pasco County. Linda, back to you.
All right. Thanks, Jennifer. Glad to see that people are taking it seriously.
And still ahead on the 4 o'clock news, honoring our veterans. It is Veterans Day, after all. A look at how President Trump and President-elect Biden spent their Veterans Day.